Boys and girls, you have to understand this guy, this felon in the White House, doesn't give a fuck about anybody. What he's done during this past month should outrage everybody. You're living under a rock. You thought he was going to be different. Why was it going to be different? He was already a failed one-term president. Are we really a country of degenerate losers? This past election was rigged. What happened this past election? Now, I know there's, without a shadow of a doubt, they outright rigged the vote count. They switched the votes. But 47% for Trump in 2020, despite all the social unrest and him telling his followers this COVID is a fake Democrat hoax. And you just live your life, let it be like there's no virus, and they die. And it's too late to believe that COVID is real. That, mind you, this was before they developed a vaccine for it, but you get the general point. Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck about anybody. Doesn't give a fuck about minorities. Doesn't give a fuck about his own followers. He could tell them, COVID's a hoax, live about your lives, and they still die. My sister included. She died from COVID. It went to one of these hate rallies late October, early November. Yeah, my friends, he does not give a damn about anybody. This has already happened throughout world history. Emperor Nero of Rome built lavish palaces while the rest of ancient Rome was left to burn. The working people of Rome got poorer, but Emperor Nero plundered the treasury to give himself extravagant palaces and extravagant, lavish parties, all at the expense of the Roman taxpayer. As the saying goes, Nero fiddled while Rome burned. In history, it's repeating itself all over again. Nero fiddles, Trump is fiddling, going to Asia. He's not in America negotiating to reopen the government while the rest of America is left to burn. So what is happening? The Republicans want to get rid of the healthcare subsidies, which is going to raise the healthcare premiums by thousands of dollars for a ton of Americans. There's a contingency fund that could allow for SNAP to continue to be paid out during this renegotiation. The rules could be bent to where technically Republicans could reopen the government by themselves because they have the House and the Senate and the presidency. But you see, it's all politics to the Republican Party. Trump is going to reinstitute SNAP, and he's going to claim credit for all of this right before Thanksgiving. He's going to come in and save SNAP right before Thanksgiving and the holidays because it's all a smoke and mirrors ploy. Because the only reason SNAP is getting cut in the first place is because of Donald Trump and the GOP. Let's scale back to Joe Biden's caps on prescription drugs. Donald Trump rescinded that executive order of Biden, and then he reinstituted the caps on prescription drugs. And then Donald Trump took the credit for something that Joe Biden already did. This is obviously a smoke and mirrors ploy, with the main thing being the Epstein files. He's scared shitless. He hopes Americans have the memory of a goldfish. You have the sitting FBI director, Kash Patel, go in a press conference and start blabbing about the charges to the NBA players and coaches. Now, normally the lead prosecutor would hold the press conference, not the director of the FBI. This is very, very weird. The lead prosecutor would be holding that press conference, not Kash Patel, not the director of the FBI. This whole NBA scandal is all about, obviously, Kash Patel and the government taking the spotlight over the news, over the NBA. It's a sport of predominantly black men playing. We have to take the attention away from these black men, is what this Donald Trump administration is doing. And there's very little about the exact names of these Italian mobsters involved in these rigging schemes. They're using technology where they can read the cards, and these players are lured into these rigged games, and they're using technology where they can read the cards, and they know what cards they're about to lay out. So that's all part of manipulation. But you as a country are losing your moral fabric when we should close the government, and I should be in Asia instead of negotiating to ensure that the military and federal workers get paid. Because I got news for you. Even though federal workers may be predominantly Democrat, not every single one of the federal workers is Democrat, right? Some of them voted for Donald Trump. The military is not getting paid because of this grand obstructionist government shutdown. You don't reopen the government and then allow the subsidies to go away. Money's got to come from somewhere else, right? So they're going to raise the premiums on existing healthcare policy holders in the marketplace. To get rid of subsidies, you got to pass on the cost of somebody else, right? So healthcare costs are going to go up for thousands of Americans. It was in 3 digits. Their premiums are going up to 4 digits, maybe even 5 digits. This is the Republican Party. Let's not forget, they're all bitching about Obamacare. The black man gave us government health care, because Obama's the big boogeyman, because he's the first black president. Republicans are racist, and because, it's a black man, and he's well-spoken, and people like him. And, we can't stand that so much people like this black guy, which is the whole core ideal surrounding the racism to Obama, especially Donald Trump. Obviously, it doesn't help that White House correspondent dinner, where he embarrasses Donald Trump, that, hey, my birth certificate's real, I am from America, this and that. So obviously, that's why Donald Trump hates Obama's guts. But the Republican Party under Trump could have had a big, better health care plan than Obama did. But What happened during his first term? It didn't happen. They didn't have an alternative healthcare plan during his first term. The Republican Party had no plan whatsoever. So they're all bullshitters, right? But who's the biggest beneficiaries of SNAP, aka food stamps? They're not blue states. They're red states. Donald Trump's going to save his little red states right before Thanksgiving and Christmas. That theory makes a lot of sense. And I'm reading in the news that LSU governor is not doing anything to ensure his constituents continue to receive SNAP because white redneck voters receiving SNAP, the highest beneficiaries are your little red states of Mississippi, Alabama, Kentucky, Mississippi, Louisiana. These are the states that have a higher concentration of people on food stamps, aka SNAP. And the Republican Party is going to get rid of that. But the governor of Louisiana, I would hire Trump to hire LSU's next football coach. That moron. Donald Trump bankrupted casinos. He added $8 trillion to the debt during his first term. No, not that orange clown. Well, not just an orange clown. He's an orange felon. He had relationships with the mob, tax evasion, all this kind of stuff, money laundering, the mob, Russia, the oligarchs. He could get a loan from a U.S. bank. But Donald Trump doesn't give a fuck that his own supporters are getting kicked off of SNAP. We're talking about you, Louisiana. We're talking about you, Alabama. We're talking about you, Mississippi. We're talking about you, Kentucky. We're talking about you, Tennessee. Those states are the welfare butchers. Red states. Lack of education, lack of health care compared to blue states. They're all on the public dole. And Donald Trump couldn't give two fucks about his most ardent supporters in the Deep South. He's in Asia. What the hell is he doing in Asia? His fucking ass should be here negotiating to reopen that government. He talked about he's a great negotiator, this and that. Well, where the fuck is he? If you're a great negotiator, you should give a great deal for both sides, you fucking dickhead. Reopen the government. These people have families. They have families. They have to pay their families. Their mortgage. Their money. What the hell are you doing in Asia, you bum? Fuck you, asshole. Fuck Donald Trump. Fuck Donald Trump. He doesn't give a fuck about anybody except himself. A fucking retard would support Donald Trump at this point. A fucking moron, a fucking retard. Only a fucking retard would support Donald Trump at this point. There are some fucking retards in my family who support Donald Trump. These people have no fucking brain. They're caught up in the racism and the hatred and the bigotry and let's hate the liberals and that. Well, why is Donald Trump's approval ratings naked minus 18? Minus 18, because we told you he's a failed one-term president. He was a failure. The tariffs are unpopular. We need to get rid of even the Congress now. Today, they voted to rescind the tariffs in Canada and Brazil. Rand Paul was a sponsor of that bill. You see, even they know these tariffs are bad for their own constituents. This is economics 101. Someone's going to pick up the cost of that tariff. This is elementary. The one who pays the tax on the import They're not going to pay for it. They're going to pass it on to you. You, the consumer, pays for it. It's basic economics 101. Emperor Nero fiddles while Rome burns. The lavish palaces. We distract the poor sods with the bread and circuses. You can still pay attention to bread and circuses and be aware of what's happening in your government. But this is what I mean. Whoever watches this recording, they're just going to wonder, what's the pick for tomorrow, the next game on Saturday? They couldn't give a shit about what's happening right now. This guy's bribed his way to a private jet with Qatar. They're going to build military bases in America. A country that sponsored terrorist activity and gave Donald Trump a free jet is now building military bases in America? What could go wrong will go wrong. If we get attacked, it's because of Donald Trump. Why should Qatar be allowed to have military bases in America? Why the hell are we not feeding Americans? 40 million on SNAP, and this motherfucker is giving 40 billion to fucking Argentina. Argentina won the World Cup, mate. Right there, these guys are in bed with each other. FIFA, these corrupt oligarch politicians, they're all in bed with each other. Make no, this is not a president. This is an oligarch. He's an oligarch. Emperor Nero fiddles while America burns. Emperor Nero built his own lavish palaces. Donald Trump is building his ballroom while people are left with rising healthcare premiums on top of the rising tariffs and having their SNAP cut. Single parent mothers with children wondering where the food is going to come from. History repeats itself. Donald Trump building this ballroom is Nero building his palaces while fuck all the rest of his people. Marie Antoinette, let him eat the cake, ba 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 ba. This is where we're going with right now. The governor of Louisiana cares more about who I'm going to hire as my next football coach for LSU than his fucking constituents are getting kicked off of SNAP and having their healthcare premiums rise. I'm talking about the LSU governor with his little comments today that, the athletic director's not going to take charge of the coaching search. He's not going to take charge. But these poor Southern rednecks, they don't give a fuck about, like, a better fucking life, like better education, healthcare. The governor is not stupid. The college football, the SEC is a bread and circus mechanism to the poor Southern rednecks because it's bread and circuses. It's cheap entertainment. Free bread, free games back in the day of ancient Rome. These Southern rednecks, this SEC, this college football means more than having better education, healthcare, better paying jobs. That's why it's called opium of the masses. And the governor may appear like an idiot, but he's not stupid. He knows these people care about football more than fucking better wages, better healthcare, better education, better job training. Bread and circuses, ancient Rome, it's out of the same playbook. So unfortunately, it's not really a shock, what came from the governor of Louisiana today. But yeah, Donald Trump is Nero. He's building a ballroom while the rest of America is left to burn. That's the moral of the story. Fuck Donald Trump. No presidency ends well after a loss of approval ratings. You thought you're going to have better jobs because Donald Trump is going to bring back manufacturing during his first term. I got news for you. He is catering to big tech and big AI. They're getting ready to lay everybody off. They treat these laid off people like they're disposable, like they're not even human, like they are cattle. They're not worthy of living. These billionaires are not your friend. They are very evil, sociopathic monsters. They don't give a damn about human rights and social mobility and any of that stuff. Then now, about that, Andrew Yang did warn us in 2020 that we needed universal basic income. And he was ahead of everybody. And we do need universal basic income because of that exact situation there, where no new jobs created when jobs get destroyed because of AI in big tech. How are they going to feed themselves? I hope this is not going to result in eugenics, where the sociopathic, evil, satanic monster billionaires say, these people get laid off and they can't get a job, or we're going to kill them off. For me, universal basic income alleviates that from happening. So Andrew Yang is not a monster. I think he truly knows what needs to happen. Politicians need votes, don't they? So universal basic income is a very popular winning strategy for anyone who wants to win elections. So that's what will happen. Maybe we get universal basic income, but then less regulation for billionaires and large corporations, and it kind of alleviates from this sort of crisis of, who's going to spend the money on the businesses, after everyone gets laid off. Like, I don't think they're stupid. Like, I think to a degree that there may definitely be a certain amount of UBI required to keep people kind of in check, so to speak. So that's the big issue. That's one of the big issues. Obviously, one of the other big issues is, climate change and pollution. Yeah, how much more can we take? So those are kind of the existential crises impacting mankind in our current political environment today. Obviously, will democracy continue? That's a big one. Will we stand up to man flag the putrid and Sinchenko, whoever the quasi president that Russia installed in Hungary? These right wing Republicans, like, whoa, we should care about our Europe and all this. But we need democracy to survive. We don't want oligarchic governments to take control in Europe. We don't want Vladimir Putin to influence the world in that way. Like, we're not sending American bodies over to the war in Ukraine, but let's protect democratic government around the world. Nero fiddles and builds lavish palaces while ancient Rome is left to burn. Donald Trump is gutting SNAP and getting rid of the ACA subsidies, and you all are being dealt with rising healthcare premiums, and the rest of America is left to burn because Donald Trump has not flown back to America, right? To negotiate, oh, let's continue SNAP and let's reopen the government and let's continue to negotiate. But Donald Trump is not a negotiator. He's a con man. He's terrible with money, and he bankrupts casinos. Donald Trump is a big no-no. Get rid of Donald Trump.